What's going on, fish nerds? It has been a crazy, crazy month. You guys saw in the last episode our new little girl, Chloe, and got to meet her. You all did. And we've been spending plenty of time with her here lately. It's been awesome working from home because of that. So that's all still going really great. She's totally awesome. But we are also now in the process of trying to put our house up for sale. And today we're actually at my parents' house. They're actually storing some of our stuff in their basement while we list our house and have showings and all that kind of stuff. So what that means for you guys is a new fish room for the fish nerd coming in the future. So we're going to have fish room builds coming sometime soon once all this is behind me. And if I look just completely and utterly exhausted, excuse my little girl, it's because of all this that's going on with all the work I've been doing at the house, trying to get it ready to sell and everything, and losing out on sleep and doing a whole lot of extra work. I'm sure I look exhausted. But today we're at my parents' house. Since we were here, I figured I should show you the tank that I got my mom for Mother's Day a few years ago, because I'm that kind of an awesome son that I buy my mom fish tanks for Mother's Day. So she's got a little 10-gallon tank, and I figured I'd show it off to you guys. All right, so here's the tank, and again, I did get this from my mom for Mother's Day a few years ago, and she hadn't had a tank in years. She had a 10-gallon tank when I was really small, and you know, it had been years, well, ever since I moved out, ever since Mom had a tank here at this house. So one year at Mother's Day, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going for it. I'm getting Mom a tank just because I like tanks. I'm sure she'll enjoy having it. Just kind of took a gamble on it, and she's done really well with it, and she enjoys it, or you know, at least seems to. She talks about it a lot, asks me, you know, things whenever she has an issue. She calls me up and things like that. But what she's got in here, she's got a whole bunch of cherry shrimp, and that's not all, but that's kind of the main deal, is these cherry shrimp. She's got a whole bunch of these in here. She started with about 10 a couple years ago, and they've just kind of exploded in here, and she's got babies everywhere. These things are breeding like crazy in this tank for her, which is really cool, really awesome. And she'll tell me about when she finds some new itty-bitty babies, you know, so she really enjoys that aspect of it. And who doesn't enjoy, you know, some really neat, you know, little baby shrimp and things like that. And she's also got some exclamation point rasboras in here. She actually got those from me. I used to have those in my 20 tall, and I wanted to go the route of the dwarf rainbows. So I offered these to her, asked her if she wanted them for this 10-gallon, and she said sure. And they've done really good for her, and they're showing some good color. And you would think all those bubbles back there would be a lot of current for such a tiny little fish, but they just kind of hang out in it, and they're just, you know, you're just kind of playing with it. And there's areas in the tank that are a lot stiller that they could just go and hang out in an area that's more still. That's the way to say it, you know, stiller. Come on, Fraser. But anyway, they're doing really good for her, showing good color. And her plants are doing well. She's got this Amazon sword here, which normally gets way too big for a 10-gallon tank. But this just being, you know, the 10-gallon kit that you get from PetSmart, it doesn't have a very powerful light. So with the light that it has, this is as big as the plant has gotten, the Amazon sword. You know, and it's looking pretty good. I mean, it's showing good color and stuff. I mean, it's got a dead leaf here, but they do that. It's no big deal. And I mean, overall, it looks really nice, I think. Other than just it's kind of undergrown, but that's fine. And then she's got the Crypt Wentii red there, a little bit of Java fern, which is doing good. She only put this in a couple weeks ago. It was a lot smaller. Looks like it's growing really well in here. And some Anubias, which, you know, we've got a little bit of blackbeard algae around the edges, but not a big deal, and she's been dealing with it. And that's one of the things she asks about a lot, is how to deal with algae. And she wants to get a snail from me now and then and that kind of a thing. And she did get one snail. They came over to my house for something. And I think they were checking on the house while we were out of town, something like that. And picked up one snail, if I can get it to focus here. and brought it over and put it in the tank, and she didn't realize that even though it's just one snail, it can go ahead and lay a whole bunch of eggs. So now she's got a bunch of little baby ram's horn snails in here, which isn't too big of a problem. It's not a big deal. And then she's got one super red bristlenose back there. And I actually bred that guy. That was one of the very first super red bristlenose I bred. I started breeding them about the same time that I got her this tank. And she wanted an algae eater in here, so that one was still a small little baby, so I gave it to her, and he's done really well in here. And normally I would say, you know, at least a 20-gallon tank for a bristlenose pleco, but I mean, he's doing fine. And they keep up with the tank and keep the water parameters good and everything like that, so not too big of an issue, I don't think. But I mean, it's not perfect, but hey, who is? Not me. So yeah, I think this is an excellent little tank. I mean, it runs well. Everything's healthy in here. She takes good care of it. And the stocking, you know, with the exception of the pleco, you know, I think is an excellent stocking. You've got a school of 9 or 10 of these dwarf rasboras, and then you've got a whole bunch of cherry shrimp. And I think something like that for a 10-gallon is awesome. Just having, you know, a few dwarf fish and a bunch of cherry shrimp, that's the way to go. And just about any time I'm setting up a 10-gallon tank, you know, unless it's like a little breeding tank or grow out tank, something like that, I'm gonna load it with cherry shrimp or blue dreams, something like that. I'm throwing neocaridina in there almost every single time in a 10-gallon tank. And so I think this is a good little setup. It's fun to look at. It's pleasant to look at with the plants and everything, and she keeps it clean. So nice little tank, and I just wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to say thank you guys for watching, but I also want to say thank you so much to our channel sponsors, Flip Aquatics. And if you guys are going to be setting up a 10-gallon tank and want some cherry shrimp for yourself, or blue dream shrimp, or caridina shrimp, or, you know, fancy shrimp, beginner shrimp, not so beginner shrimp, any kind of aquarium shrimp, freshwater, go check out flipaquatics.com. They will get you set up. And thank you guys to them. Thank you guys. God bless you, fish nerds. I'll see you next time.